welcome to Concert Pipeline. That's Jens Schippel.
And that is Steve Jones.
And Jens, today on the program, we have an artist named Riley Moore. And yes, I had a great chat with Riley, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But man, before we do, I have a lot to tell you. I'm just really tired of being yanked out of my house,
You're tired of 2020, basically, is that what you're saying?
Yes, there was a time where, you would by far be in more hotel rooms in a year than I would. But I think I might have you trumped at this point.
Really? Okay. Well, not
probably
because
not.
You've been on vacation and stuff, right?
No.
It's just been drama, environmental drama.
Only one was vacation, and the drama continues because the power was shut off at my house for 2.5 days, which meant that I had to work from a hotel room. I had to get a hotel with the girlfriend, and we had to work from a hotel room for 3 days.
Right.
So it was, it was tiring to say the least, and cut into my time, and I got to see the kids, of course, and all of that. But it's just, I'm ready for it to be done. And tomorrow also is another one of those days where the power is going to be off. So I'm not getting a hotel room, but I'm going to be working for my kid's mom's house out of town, and doing the distance learning from there. And it's just,
right.
It's just not fun.
No, it's exhausting, and it's one thing after the next, right? And just when you think it's things have stabilized, there's something else just coming right around the corner, and you're kind of living right on that border of almost annual fires and smoke and the whole electricity shutoff thing is surrounds that, and the power company's desire to not contribute to more fires.
and I get it, especially I was in the hotel all day working, so I didn't feel, the AC was nice because I don't have that in my house, right? And so that was cool, but when I went outside, on lunch or what have you, to walk the dog, it was windy. So, I do get the preventative measures. I'm great. I'd rather have the power shut off than the house burned down because of an electrical fire. Totally. But that doesn't mean it's easy, right? It's not fun.
Yeah, no.
It's not easy. And we have to, I wasn't going to, I was going to have, a friend watch, or check on, my dog Basil, once each day. But, last minute, we decided to bring him to the hotel room, and he's a big husky shepherd. He's not small, right? So, him in a hotel room, not a lot of space, and he was feeling cooped, and I had to take him down and out at least three or four times a day. But he woke me at 4:50 one morning, just whimpering to go out, and I'm like, really, come on.
Yeah. It's one thing after the next. It's like, you keep on wondering, when are you going to get at least some decent sleep so you can get the energy that you need just to make it through the next day, and it just repeats itself over and over and over again. Like, what, am I going to get enough sleep just to deal with this stuff? It's exhausting.
Yeah, but it's, and I get, a lot of people have it worse, for sure. This is just what I'm going through right now.
Right.
Pushing through. In the scheme of things, I don't have a ton to complain about, but this is what I got to complain about in the forum in which I have to complain. So
yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's definitely been rough out there. It has definitely been rough out there.
Yeah, but
so the latest thing is power's going to go off for you, right? And have they estimated how long that's going to be? And
it's just 6 hours tomorrow, but it's during the day, during the workday / school day. So so it's, I can't just wait, I gotta work, and so I'm gonna be heading out of town to get some good internet and
yeah, exactly.
get some work done.
Well, at least you're not getting kicked out of your, house, or I should say evacuated.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, just your house is still there. But I thought you had a generator. Didn't you have a generator? Didn't you buy one of those?
So yeah, but the generator doesn't do shit if the internet's out. Like that's not gonna, I mean, because the internet is shut down when the power is shut off to the area. So
you're saying the cell towers are down?
well, not. I mean, the Xfinity cable is down. Like
Right.
the internet, like the cell tower themselves, like for the phone provider is not
Right.
down, but it's also not strong in my area. So I can't tether and have that work, for a whole day, or in this case 2.5 days that you're stuck with that.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah, and I would think that if you did have to rely on like a hotspot and get your internet through your cell phone carrier, that a lot of other people are going to be in the same boat too, and it's really going to hog the network, and it's going to be hard to get any real work done.
It's certainly not going to help. So
ex-wife to the rescue, basically.
Right. Said almost no man ever.
Right, exactly.
Here I am. And that's
I know. Back when you think about the divorce and stuff, you probably weren't thinking about her bailing you out in years to come with electricity issues and stuff.
Yeah. Well, how about you? How have you been? How's Jaeger, the new pup?
Oh, Jaeger's great. I'm trying to keep him entertained. He's sort of halfway in psycho mode. Here we go. Here's Jaeger. He's getting bigger. Hello, how are you? Oh, he's getting bigger, and he's a little shit. See, he likes to eat fingers and stuff. So I always try to substitute that with something appropriate that he can eat, like a squeaky toy. But then that's not good if we're potting, because then it's like, right? So yeah, no, exactly. So no, he's really, really good. And talking about like getting your dog to sleep all night long, your dog is got his potty training a long time ago, right?
He did, yes.
So at first with this little guy, I set my alarm to wake myself up every maybe 3 times a night, just to get him to go to the bathroom so he wouldn't have any accidents, and try to train him to hold it for as long as he could. And we're at the point now, and it's only been like 4 weeks, if that, 3 weeks, where like the last 3 nights in a row, I didn't set my alarm at all, and he didn't wake me up, and he's been able to hold it for like 7 hours.
Wow.
It's crazy. I know. I've never had such success potty training a dog, but I think this guy is just really, really motivated, because he knows he gets treats every time he has a successful experience in the bathroom, which he likes a lot more than his normal food. So I'm wondering if that's the big motivator, or if he just has a naturally huge bladder, or what the deal is. But anyway, it's nice to be able to finally get some sleep throughout the night and not have to worry about the dog nearly as much as I thought I would have to at nights. Yeah. So anyway, it's the little things. Unlike you, I've never had kids, and I can imagine the whole potty training thing can be a real test on your patience and stuff. And I'm really excited that this little guy is moving along very quickly.
Yeah, it's that's good. I mean, it's definitely a lot quicker than it is with kids, I'll tell you. For what you're going through. If you think this is easy, let's go adopt some babies or something, we can get a couple.
Right.
I would caution you against it, because the potty training doesn't finish in 2 weeks with children.
It's a long time.
Definitely a lot harder. So
yeah. Next time I'm at the store, I would make sure I won't go to the aisle that sells kids.
Good call. Stay clear, I tell you.
Right. Yeah, we've had lots of adventures. This dog is great. Brings a lot of joy. Tons of work. I mean, tons and tons and tons of work in terms of trying to keep them entertained and keep them stimulated, and rewarding them for the good behaviors and kind of ignoring the bad ones, and yeah, I don't know. It's if I get another, good sleep tonight, I'll be happy.
Yeah, well, good. Power to you. Our family might be expanding in the not too distant future.
Really?
Well, you know what happened to Tracy's cat?
Yes. Well, it sort of disappeared.
It disappeared overnight. Yes.
Yeah, that's
a tasty treat for some animal.
It was
sure.
probably a tasty treat for a fox or coyote or something, huh?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I don't know exactly, but
she's been pushing to get another cat, and I've pretty much just ignored it. Is what I do. I think it just kind of hoping it'll go away. Right?
Yeah. She'll forget about it.
It hasn't gone away. It hasn't gone away.
Yeah.
So
she's been sending you pictures or
she
stuff
just,
like, oh, let's go kitten shopping, or
she just keeps saying, I want a kitty. I want a kitty. I want a kitty every time she's triggered, for that, and so eventually, I've just started loosening up a little bit to the idea, I guess, I have no interest.
Yeah, right.
And don't want another thing to take care of, but
right.
Yeah, I think she'll probably be looking soon.
Do you think she's just going to come home with one, or?
We know it'll be at least a couple weeks from now because she's going to take a road trip somewhere after the election to just get out and get away. She's planned time from work and by herself, just going to take some time, and so I'm not going to I'm not letting her get one before she leaves for a week or whatever.
Yeah.
So it'll be it would be afterwards, and we might go together or something. Bring the kids and choose one together. But she's been looking. So
she talked about what kind of cat she wants or where she's going to get it and how old. And
at first she didn't care. Like she would have been fine if I came home with one with my daughter or something. But I was like, you're telling me you don't want to say and what cat this
kind of cat you want. Yeah.
She changed her tune a little bit. So I don't think she has a preference per se, but I think she does want a kitty to be able to raise from tiny to
Yeah, you know what? I'm trying to read lips.
Oh, did you lose me?
Well, I could see you, but I lost the audio. But no, I was going to ask you if she needs to have some idea of what kind of cat she wants. Otherwise, she might get a hairless cat with serious anger issues that hates humans. It's probably not the kind of cat she's looking for.
Yeah. I won't allow a Mr. Bigglesworth in the house. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. There you go.
We're not doing that. So yeah. So we'll see.
The world.
But one other thing I'm really excited about, I'll tell you, is that we are mere days away from opening of duck hunting season, Jens.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because fall is approaching. Are we in fall yet? Has fall started?
I don't know. It all blends together for me at this point now. I think it has, yes. Yeah. But whether I acknowledge it or not, no. But that starts this weekend. So
wow, cool.
To get out and hopefully hit a couple birds and start the the fun.
So have you got something down, on the calendar? Like when's your first day? And
yeah. So I'm gonna camp out Friday night at Grizzly Island, and so first hunt is Saturday.
This Saturday. Well, okay.
This Saturday, and I have reservations for both Saturday and Sunday. Miraculously somehow I got for both, but I don't know if I'll be up to hunting both days, necessarily at this point. But I'm at least on board for Saturday and have a friend to go out with, and it'll be fun. So I will report back on the pod, of course. So
nice. Yeah, I can't wait to hear that. So remind me, Grizzly Island. So you're gonna do the kayak?
Nope, not a kayak. Nope, we just get out, put our waders on, get out in the marsh, and we have to get a good spot. Hopefully it's not crowded with other people, and and then wait for shoot time to start and hit some birds.
There you go. You got to do any prep work? Like make sure you're duck whistles are working and stuff?
I'll check the duck calls and but yeah, I've been making a list of everything we need, and I just talked to my buddy that I'm going out with and hunting, and we went through a checklist of what we want to bring, who's bringing what, and yeah, it's going to be a blast.
Cool.
So
looking forward to hearing about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's an update on our week. So we should bring in our guest. Like I said, this is Riley Moore. He has a new single out from his upcoming EP called Sweet Boy that comes out on March 12th of next year, which coincides with his 30th birthday. And so we got into talking about, a lot about his path. And I'll tell you, I mean, he's got some interesting stories that he's going to share, including walking hundreds of miles, for a tour. He did a walk tour.
A walk tour?
Where he walked from where he walk? I don't know. It was like to the East Coast or something, from like Nashville or something like that.
That's insane.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to hear about it for sure. And
wonder how many shoes he went through.
Probably a couple, but I mean, something like that would be you get to a newfound appreciation for slowing down and seeing everything around you. So
yeah, absolutely.
So
that's crazy. I can't imagine doing that.
Me either.
I don't think I'd have the patience. I mean, that's one of the reasons. You've got to admire a task like that. I just wouldn't have the patience. I'm like, I'm not going fast enough. I need to be on a bike or something.
I did like 15 miles a day, and so then we'd just play shows everywhere along the way and everything.
Yeah.
So it's
to
small crowds and everything, but to be able to keep going, and what a life experience. So
totally exciting. Yeah.
Well, let's bring on Riley Moore. Here he is.
Hi. How's it going?
Taking the time, I appreciate it.
Yeah, sorry I'm so late, or I'm a little bit late. Not so late, but
do it. It's not even a big deal. It's fine.
Can you hear me okay? There's like an AC on, and I know the lighting's kind of weird. I'll try to maneuver. This might be a bit better, but yeah, I'm like at my friend's house because I'm subletting a room in New York right now, and my roommate in my room there's like a door right between us, so I wanted a room that I could like close the door in and like focus without any distractions. So I'm using my friend's room while she's at work. But how's audio? Cool. Okay. I was hearing you, but I didn't hear what you just said. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
So how are you doing through everything COVID? Like, how is it affecting you? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's been, I think that this is something that probably a lot of musicians have experienced. But at first it was like really nice because I was able to take a break from touring without like the guilt of feeling like I'm supposed to be touring and I don't want to. Not that I didn't want to. Like I was bummed to have my dates canceled in March and all the months after March. But I think that inevitably being on the road more than you are home, which is how I had gotten to be over the past couple of years, you definitely like take a bit of a mental health toll and social toll. Not that the social toll has like lifted with people quarantining, but it was honestly, just being honest, like pretty nice at first on a personal level to be forced to have like some sustained time at home and be able to like focus again on some like my mental health and just like getting back into journaling and writing songs and being stationary physically. So that was like how things began. And sorry, I'm clicking into full screen mode. Okay. I'm going to try to keep blocking my head here so I block the sun from doing that. But Yeah, and I came up with an idea to try to supplement some of the money that I was losing from the tour dates to write custom songs for people. So I like made a little Instagram post and said that I would write a song about anything people wanted for um, some money, and I got a fair amount of song orders, and that was a really nice way to make a little bit of money, keep engaged with like my fans and friends, and um, but really it was a really cool way for me to like get to know people better, like people that I maybe met at one show, um, who then got me to write a song about something that was significant in their life, and I asked them to share as many details as they were willing, and so I kind of was able to keep connected with people during a time that it uh, is really hard to feel connected with people. So I sort of wrapped that up a few months ago, and sort of like miss feeling that way, because it was really nice to be engaging with people uh, constantly, and people that I hadn't really gotten to know before, to hear a bit of their story, but also to like work on my songwriting by practicing that. Um, and then I know this is a long answer, but it's been like six months of COVID, but I got a little restless in Nashville and decided to come sublet a room in New York City, because I know that's kind of wild considering COVID, but cases had like decreased to, especially new cases, to a rate here that was better than Tennessee anyways. And um, I'd wanted to spend time in New York for years, but didn't think it made sense with touring and just trying to make that move in the middle of touring. But since I don't know when that's going to happen again, I just thought I'd come up here for a bit and walk around and write new stuff. So that's what I'm doing now, and it's okay. I still I feel the isolation and loneliness that many people probably have been feeling during this, but I also am just trying to make the most of a weird circumstance. So
I respect the creative approach you've taken
yeah,
with the creation of the songs. And I was listening to one you wrote about someone who was having a baby during COVID, and kind of the challenges with that. And it was you know I mean everybody's kind of in this situation together and experiencing it differently. And so kind of for
absolutely.
for you, how do you put yourself in those shoes? Like, I mean, you wrote songs on a number of different topics,
Yeah,
for people.
yeah. Thanks so much for listening to those. By the way, that's impressive. Like that you actually checked out some of the songs that I think I just posted on Instagram. So I appreciate that. Um, and to answer your question, um, it certainly helped me to get as many details from people as I could. Like the more details they provided me, the more I felt like I was able to write a good, honest, and real song. Just because that's how my songwriting works, is taking real situations which normally are from my life, and just trying to make them somewhat poetic and in a way that can sound okay over a melody. So for most of those songs, I was just doing that with other people's real circumstances and trying to use like as many factual details as I could from what they sent to me. But definitely there were times where I kind of had to fill in the gaps, and I would just try to think about um, what they might be going through and try to think about what they might be feeling, and like think about, in that example, like if I were having a baby during COVID, what would I be feeling? Like what would I be worried about, and what would I be excited about? Because obviously it's still a very exciting thing, but with a little bit different concerns than one would normally feel if they're having a baby. But yeah, like to be honest, the more people told me, I think the more I liked the songs, because I like songs to feel like real, and that's yeah.
Write songs from coming from a perspective that wasn't directly your own, kind of putting yourself in those shoes.
Say that one more time.
songs that weren't as personal to you?
Whenever you start saying something like it, I don't start hearing audio until a couple seconds in, and so I keep not hearing the first part of that question. I'm so sorry.
Is that any better?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay. So I was asking if it's new for you to write songs from a perspective where you know, it's not personal to you necessarily, but you're putting yourself in their shoes.
It's actually not new. I think like growing up in Nashville, I didn't like grow up in the songwriting world or anything, but I was certainly exposed to like the existence of people writing songs for other people, and like the publishing industry that is, at least in my awareness, most prevalent in like country music and pop music, and in Nashville obviously country. And when I was 18, 19 and had kind of developed an interest in pursuing songwriting as a potential career, when I was 19, I was in Nashville. I grew up there, but I like lived in Australia the year before that. And I did like an internship at a publishing company, Big Yellow Dog Music in Nashville, and saw all these songs coming in that people were just cranking out for people like Tim McGraw or like Florida Georgia Line or Luke Bryan to record. And I would set up co-writes with people just because that's what people do in Nashville in that world. And that type of songwriting was almost always like you just are making up something that those people that listen to that type of music might connect with. So I wrote a song during that time called the PBR Anthem, and it's a kind of classic country song about someone going to a bar with his buddy and like getting hammered on and drinking 16 PBRs, and it's like a wild night for me if I drink one PBR because I don't like PBR. But I wrote a song about how much I love PBR and about getting so drunk that I try to fly off of the roof of a bar, which is just not me. Like I'm a pretty tame, like mellow person. But it's fun. That was fun. And like with country stuff like that, you can kind of bring in some humor and some lighthearted stuff. And I enjoy that. And I like the game of like rhyme and just making a rhyme that packs the most powerful punch. So that's sort of country, but like even on stuff I've put out, my first EP has a song called Silver and Gold, and it's a little less lighthearted. It's like about, I just tried to put myself in the shoes of someone whose like father was absent, and like that person dealing with the feeling of like abandonment and having a broken relationship with a father. And I don't have that. I have a great father. I don't remember why I was writing that, but I think when I was a little bit younger, I was sort of just pushing myself more lyrically, like experimentally, to just develop songwriting like skill and just think of an idea like, oh, what if I wrote about like a boy who's obsessed with hot air balloons and gets to ride one, like, and I don't care about hot air balloons, but it's a songwriting exercise, and sometimes those can turn out to be like songs that people will enjoy, and that happened to me a couple times on the album I put out in 2018, and so I decided to release them. Like Sitting on a Boat is another song I wrote about a person getting like really drunk, and that was another like kind of country co-write that isn't super autobiographical, and I don't love performing that song as much because it doesn't feel authentic, but people love some people love hearing it, and it's I feel like I'm kind of rambling now, but I feel like I answered your question as well.
Yeah, you're good. And so you mentioned your internship with the publishing company. That was one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. So as a musician, what did you learn about the business? What were kind of some of your big takeaways from having that internship?
That one, I think I took the internship because I wanted to learn about publishing, but also I guess I saw it as a way to like get into the music industry and get to know people. And I did make some connections with people there who, like, I guess they haven't really directly led to anything like in my career yet, but I just feel like the more people that you know and develop personal relationships with in whatever music industry you're in, and I guess for me that's still kind of Nashville, the better. And so I hope that people that I met there who still work in like publishing and licensing, eventually the fact that I know them might help me get a good publishing deal or sync deal someday. So that was part of my motive, I think, was just to sort of put in my time. But as far as like what I learned, I learned how I learned how many songs people write, like people that are master songwriters that are winning Grammys and making a lot of money and making more money than most of the musicians in Nashville, work really, really hard and write songs daily. And I think seeing people do that, like, not only gave me permission to work that hard at songwriting and to try to at least dip in and out of having like daily writing habits, but kind of motivated me to do so. And, you know, because if it's going to be a job to be a singer-songwriter, then I should be putting in as much time as these people towards it. And I think that was super valuable. Like, to see the, like, people that have, there was a particular writer there who had tons of number ones, and the amount of songs that man wrote, who has won like plenty of Grammys, that no one will ever hear, is really astounding and interesting to me. And all of them, to my ears, were like songs that I thought could go number one on country radio. And so it's amazing like how much work goes in behind the scenes to get to the ones that eventually help break you as an artist or as a songwriter or whatever.
Yeah,
that's probably the most valuable thing I learned.
Oh, good. So I want to go back, and I want to kind of know a little bit about kind of music in your childhood a little bit. I know your mom was really a big influence for you, you know, in terms of words and rhyming. And is she an author as well?
No, she's, I believe that she will become a published author at some point. She raised me and my three brothers and wrote like plays for our, like, the Christmas plays for our school every year, and like little plays at church and vacation Bible school. And I, like, as I got older and thought back on that, I think that's really cool that she's never been a playwright, but just that she would like crank out multiple plays every year for different organizations we were involved in. But she's currently writing some books, and my mom is a little can be a little bit like, I wouldn't say that she has like the most disciplined work ethic, just being honest. And so she kind of has books that she's been working on for several years, like children's books and stuff. And I think with the encouragement of our family, who thinks she's a great writer, hopefully she'll finish one day and get one published. But yeah, she just loves words and has always like written little rhymes. Like for our birthdays, she would leave like little trails around the house of rhyming couplets to lead us to like the next clue, and just read us like lots of great literature. And I absolutely think that like helped me develop wiring in my brain that enjoys like good rhyme and just pretty interesting writing, for sure.
Yeah. And so at what point did you pick up the guitar and start kind of experimenting with your voice, finding your voice and feeling comfortable kind of singing and performing in public?
Yeah, so I first tried to take guitar lessons when I was 7, and the guitar teacher told me that my thumbs were too small, which I've still never forgiven that person, like, because I could have been an aficionado or something, like if I had been playing guitar since I was 7. But unfortunately, I didn't really start trying to learn guitar again until I was 14, or actually a little bit when I was like 12, 13, just kind of my younger teen years. One of my friends started teaching me lessons, and he actually is actually his name's Jed Bulla, and he passed away when I was 15 or 16 in a car accident. But he used to play, I think, with like Ricky Skaggs, play like fiddle, and his brother is a very successful fiddle player, and so he was like a very influential person on me, because he was a few years older than me and extremely kind to me and kind to everyone, and he was a very good musician, and someone that made me like feel like I could learn to play guitar and be like cool like him, and so that was the first person that kind of gave me lessons. And then I took lessons at my school in high school, and I've never been like a really musician. I would say I've always been more interested in writing songs and lyrics. So it took me a really long time to like have strummed the guitar enough to actually be able to play decently, just from lack of practicing and from lack of like disciplining myself to work on the like nitty gritty, because I always wanted to just be like writing songs rather than like working on my fingers. And I'm still very behind in that department, but like certainly slowly but surely getting better at playing. But yeah, so like in high school, basically whenever I started learning to play, I wanted to start writing songs. I was never someone that like had an interest in playing my favorite band's music. I didn't even really think about it. I just like would learn chords, and then I would want to write songs with them, which didn't help me. Which that doesn't help as a guitar player at all. Like it's better to kind of start getting the foundation from playing through other people's songs, but it probably helped me as a songwriter. So that's good. And then when I was 18 in Australia, I was doing this like music program, and there was a songwriting course there, and that was when I more seriously thought, feel like I might have a knack for this, and I think that like if I have to do something as a career, which I do, I might as well. I like this thing better than other things, so this is what I'm gonna do. So then, yeah, that's when I started working on it more with more purpose.
And what was it that brought you to Australia?
I actually did a leadership program. It's called a leadership college that this church there has. Hillsong Church, which is well known globally for their like worship albums. And I like discovered them in high school and saw that they had this leadership college. I did that because I found it in a CD case, like a little pamphlet, but I realized that's a weird, like without me explaining. So I saw this pamphlet about the leadership college, and I just thought the kids on the cover looked really cool, and like way cooler than anyone I'd seen in America. And I realized I can go there and like become cool. So I applied and got accepted to the program, and it was still kind of like, it was pretty kind of spur of the moment and random for me. I had been like looking at schools, like colleges in America, and I just kind of thought it's Australia. Like this is crazy. I don't know anything about Australia, but it seems really cool, and this seems like a good life experience. So I just decided to go for it. And the way that program works is it's like a part of a church, so you can kind of have like a pastoral focus, or TV, media, or dance, or music. And so I was like a music major, and a vocal focus major, and before that, I was really a poor musician and singer in every respect when I went there, and guitar player, like every respect. So like I'm really grateful for that time of just having like mostly just peers that kind of helped me help pick up my slack and sort of help, because they put us in bands, and so I sort of had to like hit the ground running and figure it out enough to participate. And that's really where I learned to sing decently and even sing on pitch, honestly, and start to harmonize a little bit. So that was an extremely like influential time for me in many ways. And I had a songwriting course that was a part of that program. And like, I think one of my songwriting teachers told us about someone who wrote songs every day, and like she just was saying it as something she thought was really cool, and I thought it was too. And so I started doing that that year. That's when I was 18, and I actually wrote my song then that is my most successful song. It's called Pancakes and M&Ms.
Pancakes and M&Ms. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just wrote it about like reflecting on my boyhood, and I think it helped being in Australia and like kind of thinking back on my life growing up in Tennessee. And yeah, so it was a really great year.
Very nice. So just off the wall question, but since you mentioned pancakes and M&Ms, I get a sense with some of your songs that breakfast is your favorite meal. Is that fair?
Yeah. Okay. Pizza is like my favorite food, and it just sort of like tops everything for me.
Yeah.
But yes, I would say breakfast is my favorite meal. Time like of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Maybe that's like contradictory, but
no, I'm right there with you. I mean,
yeah.
So I saw you wrote about bagels, and then you also did this thing for South by Southwest where you talk about breakfast tacos in Austin, which are awesome.
Yeah, it's just I like the start of the day. Like I love mornings, and it feels new and fresh, and I'm obsessed with coffee. So breakfast just feels like I'm fueling myself and like recharging, and it makes me feel like I can go like conquer the day. And yeah, I love it. And there's good breakfast food. Have you been to Austin?
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times, and yeah, I know I'm coming from California, like we don't have breakfast tacos. It seems like a simple thing, right? But having something like that there, I mean, it's really nice. Yeah.
Where are you based, by the way?
I'm in Napa, California.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I've never been there, but
pretty nice when it's not burning down.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry, I hope that is like getting better, but
it's getting better. We're not through the fire season yet, and so it's been a couple of times, and there was a period of 5 days where I was evacuated from my home, and but everything's fine. And it was this past week it was super smoky and ashy and just gross, but my house didn't burn down, so that's positive, right? So
yeah.
But I feel for those that did, of course.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's talk about your album Vagrant a little bit, right? So Beach Vibes produced it. Tell me a little bit about working with Beach Vibes and how the album came together.
Beach Vibes is my best friend from college, and his name is Brent, but his last name's Bechtel, but it's spelled Beachtel. And when I met him, he kept trying to get me to follow him on social media, and I thought that he should I just thought Beach Vibes would be a cool nickname for him. This was like years ago, before many people were saying vibes all the time. And I was like, all right, man, look, I started calling him Beach Vibes, and I said, if you change all of your handles to Beach Vibes, I'll follow I'll follow you on Instagram. And he did. And I also am pretty good at name stuff. Like if my friends want to change their name, I can help institute it, and I'm pretty good at nicknames. And I just knew that would be a good nickname for that guy. And so that became his name to everyone at our college. And then when he got married a few years ago, I'm pretty sure the officiant said like pronounce it Mr. and Mrs. Beach Vibes.
Really?
Anyways,
That's awesome.
it's just a funny anecdote about his name. But yeah, also that kind of explains how I got connected to him. We went to the same college in Birmingham, Alabama, and we were very like much like hipsters for that campus. So we sort of just naturally gravitated towards one another, and we also have like very similar sense of humors, and we were just messing around all the time, and so we became really tight. And my senior year, we shared a room and got a bunk bed, and that's how I went out in college, sharing a bunk bed with Beach Vibes.
Nice.
And then after school, we both ended up in Nashville. He's from California, somewhere in Southern Cal. I don't remember where, but he moved to Nashville, and I went back home to Nashville after school, and we lived together again. And he actually made like a very rough like bedroom EP for me in 2015, and that was like my first little 3-song EP that I put out, just to have something out at that time. So he did that one, and then a few years later, after I had like honed in my songwriting and he had gotten better at recording and producing and everything, I wasn't even really like planning on making an album. I was somewhat like aimless still about my direction with music. I had done like a really cool tour, but I was still kind of in limbo as far as like, am I going to be a songwriter and try to get a publishing deal? Because I don't accept, like, I don't like, wasn't seeing myself as someone who could sing well enough to like be an artist or play well enough to be an artist. And so I was sort of just hesitating, I guess, but I was writing a lot of songs, and like I had started like playing some shows around Birmingham where I was living temporarily again. But he just said like, look, I've started working a few days a week at this guy's studio in Nashville, and it's a really nice studio. You should come up and like record an album. You've been writing all these songs. So I moved back to Nashville, and he gave me an incredible deal, and it was the first thing that he had recorded and produced. And I think, especially considering that, like, but even without that note, like, I think he did an incredible job. And we just kind of, like, I just came to the studio and showed him 10 or 12 songs, and there was like maybe 5 or 6 that I knew were gonna be on there for sure, and then we sort of just found a few others that worked. And Pancakes and M&Ms like wasn't even initially one that I was thinking about, because I'd written it so long ago, and I just thought it was something for my family to enjoy. But I decided that I wanted to do that one as well. And yeah, we just he like is very good at thinking about like sound, and he's a much more skilled like musician and guitar player than I am, so he was able to take a couple of the songs and move a couple chords around and like kind of help reformat a few things in the songs and make for some more interesting moments. So I feel like we worked really well in that way, and made an album that felt a little bit like, I really think this is almost like mini albums, but like it felt a little genre bending to me, I guess. Like there's a couple songs that feel very like folk and country even, and then some maybe a little bit more indie, whatever. So yeah, that it was just us in the basement of this house in East Nashville, which is pretty standard for Nashville musicians. And he just had like a couple buddies who are great musicians, but just friends of his that he's played with, to come in and track some drums and bass, and eventually added like piano to a song or two, and we just kind of pieced it together. It was very like sort of just on the fly. But I was so happy with how it turned out, and think he did an amazing job. And like looking back now, I'm still so happy about it and really grateful that just sort of came kind of out of the blue for me. Like I was in Alabama just writing songs, and then a few months later we were like tracking and mixing that album. So yeah, I feel pretty fortunate to like have had my friend kind of just insert that whole thing into my life that I wasn't even trying to do. So
yeah, well, it sounds like you were able to support him too, because it was a new venture for him. So
yeah, totally
to produce. So that's really great. I want to talk about your 1,600-mile trek.
Okay.
And tour, I guess you can call it. So, so first off, tell me where you got that idea to do that, and what was that experience like for you to just drop everything and just walk, a third of the way across the country? I mean, hundreds and hundreds of miles.
Totally.
Tell me about it.
Okay. So actually, it was my friend Benjamin's idea, Benjamin Hofling, but he's someone that I met through like another music internship I did, and we have written a couple songs together. Actually, that PBR song I was talking about earlier, which I will release a version of at some point. And I'm excited about because it's a funny song. But so I knew him through like writing songs with him, and he had this idea to do a tour on foot because his cousin like had hiked the Appalachian Trail, and he just thought it'd be cool to like combine music and an adventure like that. And I actually had read a book in middle school called Walk Across America, about Peter Jenkins doing that, and in the 70s. And it seems like kind of a random book for us to have read at school, but we did. And I remember in 7th grade like thinking that I wanted to do that someday, because it just seemed really cool, like an amazing adventure and just incredible life experience to see like the physical, like literal country in that way and at that pace, but also all of the people and different cultures. And I'm jumping around a bit, but then like being on the tour, one of my favorite feelings was over the course of several days, because we would only walk 15, 20 miles a day. So it was very like slow changes, but you spend enough time in each place that you could observe these changes. But like we had to spend time in every part. Like normally you drive for a few hours and you skip over like hundreds of miles or fly even further. But we were like in every little part of the country that was on our route. So I kind of was able to observe like changes in culture, like town to town and city to city, and sort of develop like patterns in my brain for like this part of the Northeast and then this part of like Pennsylvania, and like the differences between like Baltimore and Philly or whatever, which I guess that's not that hard of a distinction, those two. But yeah, so to go back a little bit, my buddy Benjamin like had the idea, and he was planning on doing that as a solo tour like a few years before we did it, but it never. And I told him like, I want to do that. It sounds cool. But at that time, I think I was like still a very rough musician. And he just was like, whatever.
Yeah.
But we became better friends, and I wrote more songs and kind of got a little bit better at playing over the next couple of years. And one day he like invited me and a couple other guys to go on this trip to Augusta, Georgia, where he was playing some gig in this man's barn, like to celebrate the Masters. Is that what's in Augusta? I'm not a golf guy, but yeah, the
Sure.
thing with the green jacket.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And, so he like drove us down and like in his car just for fun because he was playing, and he and this other guy that was there that I had just met were talking about going on this walking tour, and I started to get kind of mad that he like hadn't remembered that I wanted to or asked me to, and so I just said I want to come. And they were like, "What?" I said, "Like I want to do that with y'all." And in my head, I was kind of like thinking, "It's a free country. Like they can't stop me from walking with them." But they were just like, "Okay." And I in that moment, like that was the first I really thought about it, but I was able to sort of think through the whole decision and think I was just selling, like for my work, I was selling real estate. I have a real estate license in Tennessee, and it wasn't something that I was really happy in. And I'd known that I wanted to do music for years, and it was like I was just dragging my feet. So I just was kind of like, this is it. Like, this is an amazing adventure. I can't really think of any reason not to do this. So I decided to do it, and there were four of us. So that was Ben, and then Chris, who's in a really great band that is really, it's his project. And this is what he went by on that tour. It's called Arts Fishing Club. So I call him Art. And then a guy named Will Stevens, who's a phenomenal guitar player, who I had not met either. So I only knew one of the guys, and pretty much just got to know Will and Art like on the tour. And yeah, so that's like how I got involved. And the idea was to walk from Portland, Maine, to like the northernmost state, to like a state on the East Coast anyways, to a state that like border, like is all far enough south that it's on the ocean, or it's not, but like one of those states that's to Georgia.
Sure.
And so like we ended in Nashville and walked like from Maine to Nashville, but like truly it was quite a bit, a few more 100 miles than just Maine to Nashville, because we walked all the way down to like Athens, Georgia, and then back up to Nashville. So, and to make that journey on foot and to play shows and for it to really be a tour. So we spent months beforehand planning and booking, and none of us had ever really toured at all before that. So if we did it now, it would be a much smoother process and probably a much different tour, just because I like know how to book now. And we were just kind of figuring it out on the go. We used Indie on the Move, and they were super nice and helpful to help try to find some venues. But like none of us had any notoriety at all. None of us had done anything, had barely released music. And so we were just a bunch of random guys that were going to walk and tour. And because of that, like many of our shows had like no one at them, but then we would get some pretty cool press just because it was such an interesting idea. So it felt really funny to like have decent like articles and decent websites feature us and then play to like 0 people. But not that like that still happens sometimes for everyone. But anyways, you should redirect me about the tour now because I'm rambling again. But
yeah, no, you're good. I mean, it just seems so interesting. I mean, what an experience to get to do that. And like you said, I mean, see parts of the country at a pace that really not many other people take the time to do that. I mean, it's a very small percentage, obviously, of people that have done that sort of thing. And I mean, what a unique experience to have, you know, in your life, and to kind of help cultivate who you are in a sense, right? Like,
absolutely, yeah.
That's really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, I loved doing it.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your upcoming EP, Sweet Boy. It's going to come out on your birthday next year, and you've released the first single, Mansion, on that, right?
I have, yes. These are just kind of the next wave of songs that I had been playing on. So after I released Vagrant, before that I really hadn't been doing anything. Like after the walking tour, the walking tour was like absolutely the first time I had played more than like 5 shows ever. So we ended up playing like 50, 60 shows on that. And I went from like being extremely nervous and awkward and just cringy like on the beginning to of the 4-month tour to like not cringy at the end, and still not like a great performer, but much better than I was at the beginning. And like I sort of was able to just like hammer out my fear of performing and like be on stage without being as nervous. So that was like a great thing that I got from doing that walking tour. And the fact that I was like trapped on wherever we were in the tour because I wasn't walking, so I couldn't really run away. I had to play all the shows and I had to just get better and figure things out. And it helped having those guys alongside me for sure. But so after that, I like took a year and a half or so off from doing that much with music. I just played a few random shows around Nashville and Birmingham. And then released Vagrant. And then because I had this album, I was like, it would be a waste to have a nice album and not try to make something of it and like tour around. So I started booking tours that were like 4 show runs of like the most random venues, like whatever I could find, and putting together like little graphics and acting like it's like a tour, which seems to be like kind of where you have to start. You just sort of have to like build off of those things and keep up with the connections you make on the first ones. But then I like met a person who's become one of my best friends named Rusty Clanton, and he's a great singer-songwriter. And we just became friends, and I had my album coming out, and I had been like booking those little short tours and kind of trying to figure out how to work the booking world. And Rusty has a following that he's built over the years, and was kind of itching to go tour an album he had put out that year. So we met at the right time, and I was like, you want to go tour? And he did. So we started booking tours together, and I was able to like play to shows that had people that were actually like excited to come and like knew about Rusty and had sort of like discovered me from his Instagram post about the tour. And that was a whole new like excitement. And so I am getting to your question about my EP, but
you're good.
That was sort of the 2 years between right now and like when I released Vagrant in 2018. And over that time, I was both like sort of reviving some songs I had written before and working out my set, and writing new songs. So there's only like 4 different songs on this EP. I think there's 5 song tracks, but one is like a different version of one of the other ones, or 2 versions of the same song. And 2 of them are new, like that I wrote over that touring cycle, and 2 of them are ones that I had actually previously written, but just didn't really feel right for Vagrant. But ones that I knew I wanted to like eventually put out, and songs that I was playing on tour that people liked. And so the songs are, the first track is called 150, and then Gold and Mansion, and then Stones, and then a like stripped down version of Mansion. And I also have some little tracks of me like talking at a live show that I just wanted to do because I wanted this EP to feel, because I played a ton of house shows with Rusty. We set up a bunch of those, and I wanted this EP to feel more like people are connecting with me like in that way, and break down the wall a little bit, because Vagrant felt a bit more polished than I feel I am as a performer and as a musician. So that's what I wanted this to be like, and it is a bit more like stripped down than Vagrant was. But 2 of the songs the new songs are about this same girl that I met on tour with Rusty that I just really like and started writing songs about. And like the songs are just, the girl is really important to me, and so the songs are really important to me. And I love both of those songs. They're like, Mansion is my favorite song that I've written, and that's why I did 2 versions of it, I guess. And 150, which is the first song on that EP, is, as far as production, I think my favorite thing that I've had. My friend Cheyenne Metters, recorded these. Well, my friend Robert Price actually kind of helped start these recordings in a cabin that was really fun. And we took what he and I did there and gave it to my friend Cheyenne, and I wanted to like add some stuff and sort of rework some of the songs in more of a studio setting. So we did that at his house. And for 150, it's the song structure is a bit more for me. Like, I usually just do basic, like verse, chorus, verse, chorus. And I wanted to do something a little bit different on that one. So I tried. And then with the production, I also wanted it to just be kind of messy and different. And at one point, Cheyenne and I just had a bunch of mics going, and he like messed around on the piano, like without us listening to the track. And I just hit stuff, like just like walking around the room, tapping stuff. And it lines up really, in my opinion, like really beautifully and almost magically with the song. We like put that onto the recording, and I think it sounds really pretty. I don't think everyone will like it, but I think some people will. But I love that track. And then Gold is just the song I'd written in Birmingham, and same with Stones, that I liked lyrically, and had played at a few shows and had people tell me that they liked them and I should record them. So I just decided to go ahead and do that on the CP. And then Mansion, of course, the single that I just released.
Yeah, well, very cool. Well, did you want to play Mansion? I'm not sure if you had your guitar, but
yeah, I do. Let me get it. Sorry the lighting's kind of crummy, but
oh, you're good, man.
All right. I'm gonna, if you're ready for me to, are you ready for me to go into the song?
Yeah, ready for you to take it.
I'll like introduce it the way that I do at shows, because I feel like it adds to the song. But so it's about a t-shirt that I bought from a thrift store when I was in Boulder, Colorado. I had like $30 left, and my friends were at a wedding that they paid for me to come out and hang out with them in Boulder while they were going to this wedding. They just like wanted me to hang, and I wasn't invited to the wedding, so I was by myself with $30 and in some random town like outside of Boulder. And I found this Salvation Army store, and I don't know, I just had nothing to do and I didn't need to be spending money, but for some reason I went into the store and found this t-shirt that had like a drawing of an anteater on it eating these ants, and it's written like slurp, and there's ants that are getting eaten, and they say like yikes, and it says like Bug Bash 2006, and I had no idea what the shirt was of, just super random. But I knew that this girl would like it because she's just weird and like stuff like that. And so that's what the song's about. It's just about me like getting that, and like having met this girl, and she was just like, we just met one night and really hit it off. But at that time, like it was like, felt like an unattainable type situation, and I guess I was just pining for her and wondered if I could give her the shirt. So that's what this is. You probably eating dinner in a mansion with some man who wants to be married to you. You may make your move out to Chicago someday. Wonder if I'll be there with you. I'm out here in Boulder, Colorado, making up songs on my second string guitar. Can't tell if the knot inside my stomach's from the hunger or the knowing you wherever else you are. But you hit me like a dead-end street, and I don't know how to kick this in reverse. I'm here somehow, no outlet now. You keep getting better, baby, this keeps getting worse. I bought you this t-shirt from the thrift store, protesting a local group of ants. I keep pretending I'm still wearing it so it'll smell like me. The truth is I may never see you again. I don't know if I'll ever see you again. But you hit me like a dead-end street, and I don't know how to kick this in reverse. I'm here somehow, no outlet now. You keep getting better, baby, this keeps getting worse. You keep getting better, baby, this keeps getting worse. You hit me like a dead-end street, and I don't know how to kick this in reverse. I'm here somehow, no outlet now. You keep getting better, baby, this keeps getting worse. You keep getting better, baby, this keeps getting worse. You keep getting better, honey, I keep getting worse. That's Mansion.
Boom. I like it.
Thank you.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, Riley, I want to thank you for taking the time today. I really enjoyed our conversation and getting to hear, about your career and everything. I mean, it's been
Absolutely.
been a really enjoyable conversation. So,
yeah. Same for me. Thank you so much. It's great to talk with you.
Nice to talk with you as well. And glad that you're doing well in New York also.
Yeah, I hope things settle down in Napa for you all, and we'll keep the area in my prayers for sure.
Well, appreciate it. Yeah. Well, thank you. And yeah, I'll let you guys know when it's going to be live. It'll probably be in about a week and a half or so. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. You have a good one. Okay.
Have a lovely evening. See you.
You too. Bye. That was the interview with Riley Moore here on Concert Pipeline. Thank you, Riley, for taking the time to chat and for playing a song for the podcast. Also, that was a lot of fun. So had a good time.
Nice. I love it when artists do that. It's a nice treat.
Yeah, we got another little treat next week. We'll tell you about it at the end of the show. So.
Ooh, hey, suspense is building.
I know, right? And speaking of suspense, Jens, that takes us to our final segment on the program. What is it?
It is the events segment, otherwise known as music news.
That was brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a great segue, right?
Yes. Well, we each have a couple of stories to share about what's going on in the music world, so we will get to it. My first story, Jens, is about the Flaming Lips. And, one of their signature traits, which they've done a lot, is have Wayne Coyne, the lead singer, in a plastic bubble, right? Have you seen this before?
I don't think I have, no.
Okay, well, he's in a plastic bubble on stage, and then, I got the chance to see the Flaming Lips probably 15 years ago, down in San Diego, with my buddy Joe and his then girlfriend, as part of this music festival that we covered. We interviewed Flogging Molly at that show, and a bunch of other bands. And
wait, what? You said a music festival? I've never heard of that. What is that?
I know, I don't know. What is that like, right?
A music festival? I think I read something about that in a history book once.
Yeah, what's a book? I
don't know. Yeah, I know. What's a book? I guess there were a couple of music festivals after like Woodstock, and then it's pretty much been Armageddon ever since then.
Pretty much, that's what it feels like. Well, I had a chance to see the Flaming Lips, and so Wayne Coyne, even back then, like he got in a bubble and he would walk on, on the crowd, like the crowd would hold him in this plastic bubble sort of thing, right? And so more recently, probably a month or so after COVID hit, so this must have been back in April, the Flaming Lips played on Colbert show, and they played their set. All the members on bands were in plastic bubbles, including the drummer, which I think there were two drummers in one big bubble, and they were wearing masks, of course. But they were
wearing masks in the bubble.
And they had, some fans out in the crowd, so it was a small crowd show, and the fans were in plastic bubbles.
I think you did tell me about this. This is starting to sound really familiar.
I think we covered the story.
Yeah.
And so most recently, and I actually heard about this when Wayne Coyne, the lead singer of Flaming Lips, was on Mark Maron podcast recently, but he was talking about having 100 bubbles shipped to his house, and
are these like inflatable, or how big are those boxes going to be that every bubble will?
I'll show you a little picture here.
Huge. I mean, like massive transparent ping pong balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, those are big.
Yeah, pretty sizable. Well, they performed a concert with the band and fans encased in plastic bubbles, and so they're literally blowing up in 2020 using inflatable human-sized bubbles to defend themselves and fans against COVID-19 while finding a way to play live. This is what it's about, getting creative, right? While being safe.
Yeah, that sounds so familiar now. Yeah, I think I was wondering, like, well, how do the logistics work with that, right? Like, how do you sing in one of these things, as an artist? How do you, I mean, a wireless microphone, I guess, but are you moving around on stage, and do you fall over?
There are cables still and everything. I mean, they're able to fit the cables through the bubble, I think, so, somehow, and have it still be inflated. I don't know all the technology, but
and then the fans, does the music sound muted because they're in a bubble, or do they have little speakers?
I tell you, I would rather be in a bubble than going to a concert at a drive-in.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did that.
I didn't go to a concert in a drive-in.
You went to a movie, sort of.
Yeah, we went to a drive-in movie, but I couldn't do. I'm not too stoked on that. Right? Again, bands got to get creative. Venues got to get creative. They need to keep driving shows and money in that way, and so I'm not hitting on it at all. It's just not what I would love from a concert, right?
Right.
And so they performed at the Criterion in their hometown on Monday evening. They placed themselves and all attending fans in individual plastic spheres. The concert was part of a live show. Part music video shoot was born out of a sketch doodled by Wayne Coyne during the pandemic's early days. He said, I did a little drawing where I drew a picture of the Flaming Lips doing a show in 2019, and I'm the only person in the space bubble, and everybody else is just normal, he told CNN during a phone interview. Then he did another drawing with them playing a show in 2020, the exact same scenario, but I'm in a bubble, and so is everybody else. And he said at the time, the idea was more or less a social commentary on the state of virus, with the thinking that COVID-19 would never linger long enough to see the bubble experiment fully inflate. Yeah. He said, I don't think anybody would have thought in the middle of March that this is still going to be going, 8 months later. I think we all thought this is a month, this is maybe 2 months, but we're going to get a handle on this. And so they kept going, right? They did a couple songs with about 30 people in the bubbles for Colbert. And so this one, they ordered 100 bubbles from China, and and were able to play a show. So
wow.
Yeah. So they I don't know how many songs they did, because I think there's a limit to this sort of thing. But he said, I'm willing to do everything I can, to say, I think we could do this, and this would be absolutely safe. And they like the idea that they're going to do something different. It could be cool, it could be fun, and they could have a crazy, unique experience for the time being.
I mean, it sounds great. It sounds great. When you're stuck with limitations like this, I can't imagine that this kind of thing is really financially all that lucrative. But talking about, thinking out of the box and getting people together, what a great idea. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I'm down. And they're going to be playing it. They're scheduled to play at the Warfield in San Francisco in January. So I no word on whether that'll be a bubble show or not. So
and they might have to put the Warfield in a bubble just to make it, get it approved.
They might. No. Yeah, I don't know how that would work, but you got a story for us, Jens.
I do. Okay, so last time on the pod we talked about Eddie Van Halen. And I think that was like really fresh news, right? He had just passed away when we recorded that episode. And my story for the pod today is about a live performance that was shared online. It was, in fact, his final live performance. So let me talk about that for a bit. So fan filmed video footage and reported soundboard audio of Eddie Van Halen's final concert with the band from October of 2015 has been shared online. The legendary band took the stage for what would be their final performance at the famed Hollywood Bowl in LA for the last time on October 4th, specifically in 2015.
It's surprising that it's been 5 years, since they played, like they haven't done anything in half a decade, and no last shows. It's not like Tom Petty going up to to the end, or Prince or anything like that, right?
Right. Yeah, that's true. There was kind of silence for 5 years on the concert front, and that that was concluding the summer tour that they had going on at that time. So the YouTuber has shared the new fan filmed video of the entire concert. Way to go, battery life. Woohoo. Okay. Along with soundboard audio. Here is the set list. So this is what they did, right? Started out with Light Up the Sky, went to Running with the Devil, did Romeo Delight, Everybody Wants Some.
Everybody wants some.
Okay. All right. Drop Dead Legs, Feel Your Love Tonight, Somebody Get Me a Doctor, She's the Woman, I'll Wait, and then drum solo. I'm assuming that's a drum solo and not an actual song called Drum Solo.
Probably, right?
I don't know his discography that well. Okay, Little Guitars, Dance the Night Away, Beautiful Girls, Women in Love, Hot for Teacher.
Yes.
Gotta love that song. Dirty Movies, Ice Cream Man, Unchained, Ain't Talking About Love, Guitar Solo. I'm assuming
Also
that's
probably
guitar solo.
guitar, yeah.
Song. You Really Got Me, Panama, Jump, and go to YouTube and just search for this. It's on there.
Yeah, that's
pretty
really cool.
damn
It's
awesome.
cool that they closed on Jump too. That's a good one.
Yeah, I remember that song very well.
Well, I mean, to follow up with your story, I have a story about Eddie Van Halen. It's, of course, Sammy Hagar finds a way to get in the news, right? You know.
We talked about that last time on the pod too. I don't know if it's the same story. It was about his birthday or something.
Oh, his birthday bash. That's
thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, so we're having a lot of the same artist, conversation. But Sammy Hagar, details reconnecting with Eddie Van Halen, and before his untimely death. And he'd previously stated that his last contact with Van Halen was at the end of their ill-fated reunion tour in 2004. But a mutual friend put the two back in touch at the beginning of the year. Sammy explained in a new interview with KSHE in St. Louis. He shared his gratitude for being able to connect with Eddie. He said, yeah, it's really a sad thing. It was a tough one. But if I wouldn't have contacted Ed and we buried the hatchet like that and became friends again, I'm not sure how I could have taken it. It would have been devastating. And he talked about how he and Eddie got back in touch with one another. He said, I reached out to Eddie because George Lopez, the comedian who I've known for a long time and who also is dear friends with Eddie, called me up and said, Sammy, I need you to call Eddie. I played golf with him. He's not doing good, blah, blah, blah. And everyone knows Eddie wasn't doing good. He said, I just was with him and he said he loves you and he's so disappointed that you haven't reached out to him. I said, I reached out to all these people. I reached out to Alex Van Halen. I didn't have Eddie's contact number. I reached out to all these people. Tell Eddie I love him. I hope he's doing well. So George said, here's his number. Call him. So I call him and Eddie said, my favorite line from Eddie in a long time. He goes, what took you so long? I go, I reached out to Al. I reached out to everybody. He's going, you didn't call me. And I said, oh man, Ed, I love you. And I was just, it was just one big love fest from then on. And that was back at the beginning of the year before COVID. So they've been texting and talking about Wolfie and his new record and about us and the things they did and how great the stuff is. So they were able to reunite before, Eddie left, which is great, because there's obviously a lot of tension there and challenges, but they were buried a hatchet. So.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
you never know how much time you got in life to do stuff like bury the hatchet.
Make sure don't take things to your grave, literally, right?
Exactly. I know. Don't take the time you've got exactly on Earth or wherever you happen to be.
Yeah. You got one more story for us, Jens.
I do. Yeah, this is another band we like to talk about. This is going to be about AC/DC, specifically about their Angus Young, who explains Malcolm's role on the new album. All right, let's hear about this. So AC/DC's legend Angus Young recently explained the role of his late brother Malcolm played on their forthcoming album. Oh Jesus! Power Up. Shit. Sorry. TWR/up. Power Up. Right. Okay, which is set to be released on November 13th. That is not too far away. Yeah, make sure to vote before that, everyone. Okay. The new record.
Well before that, I mean, yes.
Well before that, right? Yeah. So the new record features riffs written by Malcolm, but does not have any recordings from the late guitarist. Angus explained why the band decided to not include the recordings during the interview with Rock FM in Spain. So Angus explains, I know a lot of people have been saying, did Malcolm actually play? Is it his instrument on the new album? I chose not to do that because I felt Malcolm himself wouldn't like me trying to splice his guitar work. That's wise. Yeah, I think that's really wise. Malcolm and myself, a lot of what we had done through the years, we make notes with the tracks. Some might be a little bit rough here and there. I polish them up. Basically, in other cases, Malcolm may have done just a small bit, and then I would do like the rest of the verse. The bulk of the contribution of Mal is mainly all musical. So yeah, so check out the first single from the record, Shot in the Dark. You can check that out on Vivo.
I like it. Yes. Yeah, I said it before, but I'm excited to hear that new album. I know there's, they're really focusing on pulling the band together for, who knows, this could be the last album.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this band is, you got to use some really heavy super glue to keep this band together, and the fact that they got Brian Johnson and and they're using Malcolm on it. Yeah, it feels like it might be a final album.
Might be right. Yeah. Well, let's hope they have a good time, putting it together. Hopefully we'll get to a time where we can have concerts again, and people can actually share their music with their fans live.
Right. I have one more story, Jens, and you know who it involves.
Dave Grohl.
Good job. Oh my God.
Am I right?
You got it. This is brilliant.
Yeah, I that pause there, I was sweating a little bit, but I was,
you got there.
Ultimately felt confident that it was going to be by Dave Grohl. It's
great. I won't ask you to do our socials or anything like that. Good times. So I had a couple stories to choose from, but I'm going with this one actually because it's been a busy week for the old Foo Fighters. But Stevie Nicks released a new solo song, "Show Them the Way," featuring Dave Grohl. It's her first solo single in almost a decade, Jens, and it comes with a Cameron Crowe directed video. Which is awesome. Cameron Crowe, of course, who directed, wrote and directed Almost Famous. Almost
Famous, right? There we go. Right.
I mean, he did other stuff too, but the one that really matters is Almost Famous.
Exactly.
And so, let's see here. It's the Fleetwood Mac icon previously said she was inspired to write "Show Them the Way" when revisiting an old dream. One night right before the 2008 election, she fell asleep and imagined herself in the company of a variety of notable politicians and activists, including Martin Luther King Jr., John F. Kennedy, John Lewis, and Bobby Kennedy. It stuck with her ever since, and she decided to tap into that sentiment and of that imagined memory for the song, which was produced by Greg Kurstin. And she was also joined in the studio by the Eurythmics' Dave Stewart, who plays electric guitar.
Yeah.
It's among her most personal songs as well, Cameron Crowe said in a statement.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
He's also known for Jerry Maguire.
That's right, yes.
More importantly, Fast Times at Richmond High.
Yes.
Did you ever see that film?
I did. It's been a while, but again, the one I come back to is Almost Famous. I just watched it on its 20th anniversary, like last month or what have you. So earlier.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So you can check out that song. They finished the video that Cameron Crowe produced on the full moon with a whole lot of passion and excitement about immediately sharing it with the world right now. And that this won't be the last new music we hear from Nicks. She's been spending her quarantine translating her poetry into actual songs in hopes that she can record them for a new full-length LP. Which would be her first studio solo album since 2011's In Your Dreams. So some more new stuff from Nicks to come.
Cool. Yeah, she's an awesome talent. It'll be good to hear what she's got for us.
Absolutely, and Dave Grohl on the drums as well. Can't go wrong there, right? So
exactly, yeah. Dave Stewart from the Eurythmics. I was a big Eurythmics fan back in the day.
You were?
Yeah, when I was, yeah. And Dave Stewart did some really cool stuff off on the side too. So it's nice, to see his name coming back.
Nice, well, good stuff. Well, Jens, I'll tell you who we have on the program next week. I'm really excited about this one. It's a return guest. Having been in a band that sold over 60 million albums, we are having Martin Barre, formerly from Jethro Tull, on the program
Awesome.
again.
All right, good. It'd be a treat to have him.
And he might play a little song for the pod as well. You'll have to tune in and check it out. But I'm really excited about that one. It's great to talk to him again and hear about 50 years of Jethro Tull, the new album that he has coming out. So
yeah, cool. Yeah, it's gonna be a treat.
It will. And so that's our show for all of us here at Concert Pipeline. That's Jen Schipple.
And on the other side of me is Mr. Steve Jones.
We'll catch you next time.